Hey, Don. Oh, there we
How
go.
are you?
Oh, I'm just peachy. Hey, just want to let everybody know we are broadcasting because we changed policy, so we're starting the broadcast 5 minutes before a meeting. So just so you're aware.
Right.
Opera talent.
Barbara, I'm in a meeting right now. I'll call you back later, okay? Okay. What's the matter?
I talked to Andrea earlier, said she's going to phone in. So
Okay.
No one's talking?
Well, we're official now. We start early, so we have to behave ourselves.
Oh, okay. Well, Herb John isn't here. He always
Well, it
mixes
says he
me up,
is.
but he's unverified.
Well, I think we
Whatever
all
that
are.
means. Hello.
Hey, Andrea. It is 2 o'clock, so we
Well,
do have a quorum of members available here for the March 2025 Forestation meeting, and we can get started, I believe, and hopefully some other members will join us as the meeting proceeds. So when we look at our agenda, we were not able to meet in February due to multiple circumstances. And I went back to find that I had sent out the January minutes so we could review them today. And I found the report on to council from January, but I could not find that I did or didn't do the minutes. So those will be reviewed at our next meeting. I will go back. I've got notes, but I can't find a write-up on January. So I will review the events on the video on YouTube, and then have a more comprehensive review for everybody come next month. So I apologize. I'm not sure what got into me at that point, but there will be a good record when the time comes. Yeah.
I think we'll give you a pass, Linda.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we didn't have
we
as
will.
much going on right then, and hopefully we can catch up on all the things that are happening now. So I think we'll survive. You're right. So
Don't
at
let
this
it happen
point,
again.
I would invite the mayor to update us on anything he wishes to share.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Well, I received a very nice email from Lee this morning or last night, I guess it was. And he had a good suggestion about the pedestrian bridge in Harrods Creek Park. And that was that we should consider naming it in honor of Linda Wardell. And I told him he was right on target, because we are asking the council on Monday evening to approve a resolution that will make that decision, and that will, if adopted, which I believe it will be, will name the bridge in honor of Linda. So she's obviously very deserving, as are many other of our citizens and volunteers, but in particular, she's done a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll report on a few other things. One is today, the City Mail had a little bit of a change, and that is we're gonna begin trying to group upcoming events and meetings in single emails rather than having, if we have 5 events and meetings, rather than have 5 emails, we're going to try consolidating so that they're all listed in one. And the current one that came out this morning, the first one lists this meeting, lists the Architectural Review Committee meeting that's set for tomorrow afternoon, City Council meeting on Monday, coffee with the mayor a week from tomorrow. It'll be on Friday, March 21st. And then the Hike and Listen Parks program on Saturday, March 22nd. And then finally, Art in City Hall Prospect. Their exhibition Winter into Spring will open on Sunday, March 23rd, with an opening reception from 2 to 5 p.m. in the council room. And I invite and encourage everyone to attend. Connie knows because she's on the committee and helping with it. But it'll be a tremendous exhibition. Herb has commented to me that the list of artists are really some of the premier artists in this area. So it's pretty exciting to see that, but also to see what a success Art in City Hall has been. I'll report briefly on the Architectural Review Committee meeting that was held on March 3rd. There were 3 items of business that came before the committee. First, the committee considered contractor's drawings for a new commercial building next to Gustavo's. That will be the new home for Evergreen Liquors. And the committee suggested some modifications to those drawings. I think they're supposed to be resubmitted with some changes to the windows in particular. And that's one of the things actually that the committee will be considering again tomorrow in its meeting. The committee also discussed a draft of an ordinance changing the rules for detached pool houses, and it recommended that the council approve a new ordinance in that regard. For that first reading, that is on the agenda for the council meeting on the 17th, and that ordinance will be up for a potential first reading. 3, the redevelopment of Prospect Point, the unnamed grocery chain that's in line to acquire that property and to redevelop it, had made some changes in what they had previously presented to the Architectural Review Committee at the request of a couple of the members of the Architectural Review Committee, and they responded very positively and very promptly and added a substantial amount of brick to the design for the grocery store itself and for the rest of the development. So that's pretty much what went on at that meeting. As I say, the committee meets again tomorrow, and we'll be following up on the Gustavo's, the building for Evergreen. So that's my report.
I do have a question, Doug. I understand the efficiency of bundling some of these notices together. Do you have a target frequency or a date that we should have information to Ron so it can be distributed as part of the package?
Well, at this point, we've said we plan to send these 1 to 2 times a week. So we have not set a particular date, but I'm guessing it would probably be a Monday or Tuesday typically. And then hopefully that'll take care of us for the week. There'll still be individual emails, but we've gotten some response from some of the people who receive our emails that we're just sending too many, which I think was correct. And so we're trying to reduce that. And actually the link to more information about each event is on there. So all the information will be available to people. And I know there's value in repetition, but if you wear people out, they tend to unsubscribe. And we don't want people unsubscribing. We want to get the emails and hopefully pay attention.
Okay, thank you. I guess moving on, Andrea, I see you're with us. What would you like to share?
I wanted to tell you that, I sent the, canopy tree list, the list of trees that the homeowners have ordered, Monday to Abrams Nursery. They've had a very busy week, so I haven't I asked them for a quote first. So, I have heard back that they're working on it. I hope in the next day or so I will have that so I can, I can send that out for your review and, we can get that order placed. I was gonna check with you to, do the residents have they picked up their flags now?
I
Or
do not know.
what date was it?
My request to City Hall was that the flags be available when they turned in their contract. So I will need to verify that that did occur. And if not, we'll reach out to the participants and say they need to come pick up a flag.
Yeah, if we could get them to, figure out anybody that has not done that
Mhm.
and urge them to put a flag in, sometime in the next week or so, that would be great.
Yeah, because the idea was that they pick up a flag when they turn in the contract and the check, and that the front desk would give them a flag and hopefully be able to mark the flag that it was the oak, it was the elm, it was whatever
Right,
they had
yes.
selected.
Yeah,
I
that
could
would be
tell
very
you,
helpful.
some did not pick up a flag because the front desk was not aware of this. Ron was not in the office. So some got them, some didn't. So
Okay, so I probably needed to reach out to all of the participants just to verify if they did or didn't get a flag, that they can come in and get one and they need to do so. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be real helpful if would pick up a flag from you all. So
Okay.
there's some
We'll do
consistency.
that. We don't want to stick with a rag on it.
That's right. Last year we had to stick with a rag or a towel on it, marking the tree location, so.
the other
We
thing
found
is, I told some people who did pick up flags that I was not. They asked when to put them out. When you all planned on planting them.
It
So
was in
I
the
sort of told them
contract.
to wait to hear from you as to when to place it.
Well, it was in the contract, and that's one of the reasons I
Okay.
also asked that they get a copy of the contract so they were aware of the various timetables for not only getting the check to the city, but when the flag needed to be placed so it could be reviewed. So I can,
Well,
I'll put that in my note.
if you can let me know when the, the contracts are all signed and in and when they have their flags, then, then we should give them maybe a week to put their flags in and then go from
Okay,
there.
well, I think we have good contracts from everybody, and we do have one person that signed up for 2 trees, and I've sent an email to the person, and I left a message on her phone yesterday that we could not give 2 trees to one household. So, and
Right.
she'd written a check for 2 trees, so we're hoping she can come pick up her check and then provide one in the proper amount.
Okay, all right. And then, as soon as they get as soon as we get that all squared away, then I'll meet with, Perez and Cortez.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out. In the meantime, we'll get the order placed. So the first step is to get the quote back from them and you will all approve the quote and then we'll get the order placed.
Yeah, and I
ASAP.
think the spreadsheet I sent everybody is still good, so I don't think there's any issues with that. It's just kind of
Right.
the next step logistics.
Yeah, right. That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. That's all I have for the moment.
Okay. I've got a few notes on some things with the hazardous trees. I think most of you have seen the emails. We have 2 residents in the landings that are requesting and we have approved removal of Bradford pear street trees. So that maybe gets us down to about 90 to address over time. But in both cases, they will move forward with the removals. And in one situation, one of the owners has been involved in the canopy program, and she signed up again, she and her husband, for a new tree. This time, this will be their third tree. So it is nice to see somebody recognizing the program and participating, and it will be a nice addition to that community. Now, we also have a gentleman that lives on Whitetail Circle that's been concerned about some dead trees that are in the open area between the back of his yard and Hunting Creek Drive. I think Ron's had a chance to look at it. He feels they are potentially hazardous, and he actually reached out to us some time ago, and they were reviewed and found to not be a major issue. And so I thought, well, we've had all these windstorms, maybe conditions have changed. So I know Ron's had a chance to look at them, and I don't know, Andrea, if you have, but at this point, it doesn't seem like it's anything that really is going to cause a problem on Hunting Creek Drive.
It's
So
just,
I
it's just
will,
the,
once I,
it was just the trees that are hung up, that are leaning and hung up in
and falling
another
into
tree.
other trees, yes.
Right. Yeah, I did look at that. I think Ron and I are going to meet next week and look at the oak tree in Little Hunting Creek Park. And I had just asked him in an email if we could look at those too. I wanted to be sure if that's what the concern was.
That's
And I
true. And
wasn't
the oak
sure
tree
where the
is on the
property
list as
line-
well. That was going to be my next question. So, a couple things in the works to just review and make
Yeah.
sure they are okay. And then we had kind of an interesting
Well,
email come in this week that
Connie.
we have an owner with, I guess, a 6-foot pine tree of some sort that started out from a pine cone in a container and has grown for multiple years. They have moved houses, and she has a much smaller yard right now, and she wants to know if there's a place the city could use it. We're not too sure about that. We have asked her for a picture to see just exactly what the tree is, and if there is a place that we could put this pine tree and go from there. But it was kind of nice to have somebody think of us and offer a tree.
Right.
So until I hear from her or get a picture, and then I'll share it with the group, and we can kind of say, does it make sense or not to try and move that? And I'm sure it's kind of big and heavy, and getting to her backyard would probably not be real easy based on where she is now. So. And the next thing on the agenda then is the
Right.
canopy trees. And we've kind of touched on some of the issues we need to address to kind of keep the program rolling. I can report that we have 10 participants, and I'm very pleased to see that people are responding, and hopefully will continue to do so, that we add more trees over time with this program. So my next idea was, we talked about a lot of HOAs really aren't that familiar with our ordinances, or even that forestation exists. I mean, Lee did a very, from what I understand, excellent talk, and I got a big thank you from the HOA president in his book for his efforts with that group. So it's kind of, how do we tap into some of these HOAs out here, because we have so many of them, and we have so many trees that can we do a workshop? How can we do mailings to them? So I would throw that idea out to all of the forestation members to think about, just emails. Do we do a workshop? Do we bring in somebody from the botanical garden or Udell that would be, a draw to get people involved and thinking a little bit more about tree responsibility? So, something for everybody to think about.
Okay.
And if you have some suggestions on potential speakers or a way to do that, I mean, and get people involved in a way. I don't think we can do some of the fun things that Parks and Recreation does, but I think we can still be a source for education to support our tree programs, and making, trees that we're losing, trees that we're adding, and that we maintain our Tree City certification, and just, make it easier for people to get involved with protecting our trees.
Sounds like a
So,
good plan.
Well,
Good
it's something to
idea.
work on, and Andrea, you may have some ideas to
Yeah.
kind of get us some contacts on some of these people. I mean, trees, I think Louisville is doing some interesting things. They've had some giveaways of very small trees that I'm not sure would be suited to some of our projects, but I had some thought about reaching out to them to see how they're really focused on some of the inner city areas where there aren't
Right,
as many
that's
trees.
Right.
But and they need that badly, and I'm happy to see them doing that work. But what can they do to help suburban situations that are pretty well treed at this point, but we don't want to uh, lose momentum because, as you know, we've talked about over the years, that trees aren't forever. They have a lifespan just like we do.
That's right. You can always get speakers from Bernheim.
Oh,
If
good
you wanted
idea.
to have a speaker come in. I'm sure maybe you, Dell, too. You'd have to plan, pretty far in advance, but those
And
are always
maybe, that could
sources
be
for speakers.
something early fall, because fall is such a good time for planting, to kind of give people a heads up before we have Arbor Fest and, provide these trees. So maybe that would help them be more successful with their planting and care for those trees.
I think that'd be a good time frame. And fall is really one of the best times of the year to plant trees.
Yeah,
So,
I know the National Gardening Association has that whole campaign that they promote, fall is for planting.
right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a
would be
wonderful idea. That's a wonderful idea.
Okay. Well, I don't know if anybody else has any comments, but that's pretty much the end of my agenda. What else would anybody like to talk about?
I have a couple issues.
Good.
One regards the plaque for Mike Powers.
Right.
It seems to have disappeared. Maybe John Carter has it. We did receive a couple months ago the fact that it was shipped to our location, but Ron doesn't have it.
I do not have that. I seem to recall it arriving though.
What are we looking
You
for,
remember
Lee?
it arriving, John?
The Mike
Well, I didn't
Powers
open the
Memorial
package.
Plaque.
I think I handed it to Ron, but I don't know if it was Mike Powers' plaque or not.
Like I said, I don't remember seeing it. I'll double check downstairs. Which tree was his anyway?
It was the Red Bud in Little Hunting Creek Park.
Near the pavilion.
There is a plaque there, but I don't think that's his. It was,
Is
I
that
think
one of the
it's
ones
one-
for Linda Wardell's
I
family?
believe so. I believe so. I
That's
believe
what I
that's what
thought.
I put there. Let me double check downstairs and I'll get back with y'all, but I don't think I have it. I could be wrong. It's happened once before.
Okay.
Andrew sent out a picture a couple of months ago of the Mike Powers tree, pretty clearly showing its location. Andrea, can you resend that to Ron?
Sure. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just
On?
it's off the opposite corner from Linda Wardell's tree.
Oh, I know
Mother's
exactly.
tree.
I know exactly where that one's at.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones that got snuck in. So
Uh, So that, let's say that's going to be worked on. The other question I have, is it possible to get a tree planting plan for Prospect Point, if there is even such a thing?
Yes.
The present development is a tree desert, and there'd be a lot of holes that need to be punched into the pavement there if we're going to have any trees.
Lee, I've talked with the developer about that in the last 2 weeks, and I talked to him about it again today. He says that their tree person, I think, Andrea, that they've been in touch with you.
I
If I'm not-
talked to him once.
Okay.
Probably a month ago, and he said he was, we talked about trees going in there and different things and sizes of trees and so forth. And he said he would be first submitting a plan to the developer, which then
Correct.
the developer has to submit it to you, doesn't he?
And I think I think that's going to be forthcoming. And the impression I have is I'll have that in hand in the next week or two. And I'm looking for it to be much more favorable than what our impression has been up to this point. I've stressed to him that we understand the need for parking, but we also don't want to just see asphalt.
Good.
Excellent.
Who's the developer for that project?
His name is Asa Harris. I can't remember the name of his company, but
Okay.
he's based in Raleigh. He does a lot of stores for this particular unnamed grocery chain.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
and does them all, doesn't do them in Florida, which is their home base, but does them in a lot of the other states.
That's funny.
You know, the trees that went up by Chase are really nice. You know, that worked out well.
Yeah, I think it did too.
I agree. And I'm looking forward to seeing them come out this spring, and hopefully we can accomplish something similar and equally meaningful with the new unnamed entity.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, Lee. That's great to ask them to plant some trees there.
Right.
'Cause it is a big asphalt.
That is a big
Yes.
parking lot.
Big parking lot.
When Kroger put its big store down off of Timber Ridge, they had a tree plan, and it was possible to review it, and they also had a tree consultant or engineer, but when Andrea looked at the proposal, he had several positive recommendations about the species, and actually Kroger more or less responded. Similarly, when they put in their fuel station, we suggested, the board suggested more tree planting, and more or less they did. The fuel station is pretty well shielded by
Mhm.
trees. So probably we can make a difference at Prospect Point.
I'm hoping so, yes. No,
Agreed.
and some of the other unnamed properties that you know, that owner has put in other good landscaping, pretty there, you know, if you look at another property that they've done here, yeah, they put in some pretty good, a good number of trees in there.
Trees, good, that's great.
If you,
They're pretty responsive. They, I think I alluded to this earlier when I was talking about the Architectural Review Committee. I passed along the committee's concerns, and the immediate response that I got was that they would address them, and they did, I think, to the committee's satisfaction. So they're very open to communication and to adjusting their plan.
well, that's great. That's super. Looking forward to seeing it, and if we need to, you know, we can always make, as the board can always make additional suggestions to and hopefully they'll listen. So that'll be good.
Yeah, I think they will. I don't know how much change there'll be, but they're very inclined to satisfy our concerns. Let's put it that way.
Good. That's great to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Lee, you made some important comments. Anybody else have something to add? Okay, well,
I'll express, as I always do, my appreciation, Linda, to you and to everybody on this committee.
well,
Don
that
Gibson,
goes two ways. We appreciate the support the city gives us to kind of help us do what we can for the city. So at this point, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Okay,
adjourn.
Connie? Okay, I guess I'll second, and then our next meeting will be on April 10th. So everybody take
Thank you.
care, and there'll probably be emails on new developments. So
Awesome.
we'll keep the trees going.
All
thanks,
right.
everybody.